The date that this video is posted proves that these predictions are being made ahead of time, as do these time-stamped emails and forensic notes PDF documents. If you are skeptical for some reason, please email me and I will forward these to you. All right, this video is predicting that 2 dirty bombs will explode in Manhattan in New York City on March 22nd, 2025, and there will be a large-scale evacuation from Manhattan Island. The date that this video is posted proves the prediction is being made ahead of time, as does this email that I'm about to read, composed on March 2nd, as you can see here. If you are skeptical for some reason, please email me and I'll forward it to you, but I fail to see how anyone could be skeptical given the post date of the video. But this video is about the 97th Oscars and Demi Moore's comeback. This is an amazing story that God told through his signs that confirm the prediction. It's one of the reasons for how this prediction is known ahead of time. So, for Best Actress this year, it was a competition between Demi Moore for the movie The Substance and the actress in the movie Honora. Honora is about a woman who works at a strip club. The big irony here is that Demi Moore's career essentially ended with her role as a woman who works at a strip club in the 1996 film STRIPTEASE. Playing a stripper was controversial at the time, and so that's why she fell out of favor with the American public. I guess she thought it would be, well, no, actually also, at the time she became the highest paid, actually I'm about to say that right here. God uses records for signs, and at the time, Moore was paid the most ever for a movie role at $12.5 million. This too was controversial at the time, as she was paid more than the highest paid male actor. Okay, so this was a big news thing at that time, in that day. But she fell out of favor for playing a stripper. And the irony is that she's made her big comeback this year, and her competition is a stripper. Because now it's no longer controversial. We've come a long way in terms of moral decay in America since 1996. So, Moore's portrayal, and that was not to say that 96 was very moral, period, either. It's more of a comment on how bad things are right now. Moore's portrayal of a stripper is a current news story. Okay, currently, it's a news story how Moore played a stripper because the role ended her career. However, with her portrayal of an aging fitness instructor, she has made a comeback this year. There's a parallel even with that. Okay, so the end of her career plummeted with her playing this sex figure, a stripper, and her comeback, her big famous comeback, God is using these comebacks. This is an amazing one. This comeback of Demi Moore involves her portraying a sex figure, a fitness instructor who's famous for being sexy in the movie. That's the character. Okay? And that's what the plot of the movie is about, is because she gets old and she loses her sex appeal, and so she's replaced. That's anyway. So moving on though, yet she was beaten at the Oscars by a woman who played a stripper. This coincidence at the 97th Oscars that was designed by God served to highlight Moore's big career comeback. The Oscars ceremony was 11.23% of a year after Trump's big comeback at his inauguration. Now, the reason why God uses 11.23% of year, which is 41 days, is because the 188th prime number is 1123. The reason why 188 is used repeatedly in God's signs is H188 in Strong's Hebrew Concordance is the word that means woe, exclamation mark. It is used in the Bible in the context of extreme judgment from God. So God uses that number and also this number here, 1123, because it is the 188th prime number. Now, Moore's comeback and the stripper coincidence at the 97th Oscars points to Obama's future comeback as the president. That's what this is all symbolism for, including, by the way, the comeback of Trump. Trump's second presidency, that's non-consecutive terms, is also symbolism for the future second presidency for the Antichrist, who will serve non-consecutive terms. And so that's why the theme of comebacks in God's signs. It's primarily about the comeback of Obama, not Trump. Trump is, in other words, part of the theme, but his comeback in itself is also pointing to Obama's comeback. Now, where was I? Obama, the word, the name, is equal to 97 in Hebrew gematria. So it's the 97th Oscars. That's a typo. It's actually Barak. Barak, the name Barak, is equal to 97 in Hebrew gematria. The 97th Oscars is about Demi Moore's comeback. Again, even though the winner for Best Actress wasn't Demi Moore, she was a stripper in the movie, which points to Demi Moore. Anyway, and her comeback. So the 97th Oscars is about the comeback theme, and number 97 is a number that God uses to point to Barack Obama, because his name equals 97 in gematria, but also 97 is the 25th prime number, and Obama's comeback will involve his appointment to the presidency using the 25th Amendment. This will be how he overcomes the 22nd Amendment, which restricts someone from being elected more than twice. He will be appointed instead. Michelle Obama will be the president. She'll appoint him as the vice president, and then she will step down. This prophetic sign and this parallel between the actresses who played strippers, which is youth symbolism, that's the plot of the movie. Furthermore, the plot of The Substance is about age reversal, as I'm about to explain, and youth, and how her youth is lost, which causes her to seek the alternative pseudo-scientific or science fiction method of reversing her age. Okay, so that's the theme here. This is this theme of youth, and also her comeback is a story because she's old now. That's why it's a comeback. Demi Moore, she's in her late 60s, and she's now at the top of the game again, up for contention for an Oscar, right? And that's a story because she's so old. It's not just a story about an actress, it's Demi Moore, and the story is her comeback, and it's because she's old, which points to how she was very, very huge, famous, sought after when she was young. So, again, not only in the movie is the plot about youth and old age, but the story of Demi Moore in reality is about youth and old age. And she lost the Best Actress award to the young woman who played a stripper. Okay. Now, so this parallel between the two actresses who played strippers, which brings us to this youth theme, also serves to point again to the theme of the movie, The Substance, which is a big sign in God's prophetic signs. This movie, The Substance, it's very important. And the movie, The Substance, is about things that are used to put substances inside people. Okay, and in the movie, she uses these things that are used to put substances inside people, and this thing that she uses in the movie reverses aging. This is symbolized in Genesis 3:22. In Genesis 3:22, God laments what has happened in the Garden of Eden and kicks them out of the Garden of Eden lest they take from the tree of life and have eternal youth, because they are not in the position now, having eaten the forbidden fruit from the tree of knowledge of good and evil. So anyway, God uses 3:22 in his signs to point to Genesis 3:22, okay, because of this attempt to become immortal, which was what the promise was by the serpent in the garden to Eve, were she to eat the fruit, she shall surely not die. In other words, she can have immortality without God and disobeying God. Okay? And so that's why God uses this. Now, the coming deception regarding the things that will promise age reversal. So what's coming are things that are used to put substances inside people that will promise age reversal and immortality without God, just like the movie or the plot of the movie The Substance. And this is symbolized by Revelation chapter 9, verse 11 in the Bible. God is using Revelation 9:11 to symbolize this. Okay, this coming mark of the Antichrist that will promise age reversal. That's a story. I could explain why Revelation 9:11 is symbolic for this, but that's the case. And the Oscars are 9 plus 11 days. I mean, the night of the Oscars is 9 plus 11 days before the date 322, which is again this number, which symbolizes Genesis 3:22. That's why this big event, the predicted explosions in New York City, will occur on the date 322. 322 is when it is predicted that dirty bombs will explode in New York City, which is a woe, and the location of the events of 9/11. The movie Anora takes place in New York City. The reason why I did woe there is because of the woe back here. Okay, so anyway. So it's quite relevant that this theme that's brought up through the prophetic signs at the Oscars, which I've explained now, is 9 plus 11 days to 322. Because 322, the date, hints at Genesis 322, which is symbolized by, in the end, with Revelation 9:11. So 9 plus 11 days. But also, the events of 9/11 took place in New York City, furthermore. So from the Oscars to the predicted bombs in the city where the 9/11 events occurred, it is 9 plus 11 days. Also, the movie Anora takes place in New York City. More confirmation. But also, actually, The Substance, I just thought of this. This happens all the time when I'm going through the information as I'm speaking it into the video. I'm discovering something new. The movie The Substance takes place in Los Angeles. And the planes on 9/11 were flights from, the planes that flew into the towers in New York City were flights that were destined for Los Angeles. So in other words, the locations of these two youth movies, because again, Demi Moore plays an aging fitness instructor. She might as well be a stripper. I mean, symbolically, it's pretty much the same thing. And because she's not just a fitness instructor, in the movie, she's a sexy fitness instructor. That's the point, right? And that's why she's fired, because she's gotten too old, because she's no longer sexy. So she's basically a stripper. She's in front of the camera or in front of an audience, showing off her body and moving her body around. Same thing as a stripper. The irony, though, is that her career plummeted after she played a stripper in 1996. But the two top, candidates for Best Actress were these two characters that were essentially the same thing: the sexy fitness instructor and the stripper. All right? Now, that gets us to the plot of the movie The Substance, which is about this theme of age reversal, which God is using the number 3 and 22 to hint at because of Genesis 3:22. And this all involves the demons from the bottomless pit in Revelation 9:11 and the coming mass demonic possession, and all of this with those who take the mark of the Antichrist that will promise this age reversal. And so that's why from the Oscars, it's 9 plus 11 days to this 3/22 date. But also, again, it's relevant to 9 plus 11 days because New York City, which is where it's predicted the events will occur on 3/22, the bombs, was the location of the 9/11 events. And again, the Anora movie takes place in New York City too. Okay. On 9/11, it was 2 planes that struck 2 towers. Another coincidence at this year's Oscars was how Adrian Brody won his second Best Actor award 22 years after his first Best Actor award. It was a sort of comeback as well. Not that Adrian Brody disappeared like Demi Moore did after her career was ruined with Striptease, but still, to win 2 Oscars 22 years apart, that's sort of a comeback. And it's 2 Oscars 22 years apart. Okay? This too involved the theme of aging. As Brody was the young, as Brody won the youngest actor, as Brody was the youngest actor ever to win the Best Actor Oscar. And God uses records for signs, and so that's this aging theme here. Because 22 years later, he's a lot older, right? But when he did win his first one, he was the youngest actor ever to win the Best Actor award. And God uses records for signs. Had Brody lost to his competitor this year, Timothée Chalamet, for his role as Bob Dylan, the record for youngest winner for Best Actor would have been beaten. So that theme of youth came up again because Brody was in competition with someone who would have beaten him for the youngest person to win Best Actor had Brody lost. Okay, so that's part of the story. More of this comeback and youth symbolism. Bob Dylan confessed in a 60 Minutes interview that he had sold his soul to the devil in exchange for becoming famous. I don't doubt that for a second. Furthermore, it's clear if you watch the interview, the 60 Minutes interview, which you can watch on YouTube, that Bob Dylan is extremely serious. He's dead serious, and he believes what he's saying. It's clear. You can tell when someone believes what they're saying. All right. And so he confessed that in the 60 Minutes interview that he sold his soul to the devil in exchange for becoming famous. 60 is 3 times 20, which into 32, which is equal to bomb in simple English gematria. A equals 1, B equals 2, C equals 3. And the word Obama, or the name Obama, is equal to 32. 60 is 2 times 30, and there are 23 pairs of chromosomes. In human, begins with a D, middle letter is N, and the last letter is A. The mark of the Antichrist alters a person's chromosomes. The number 22 symbolizes the mark. The reason why that is that the inverse of the mark of the Antichrist would have, described in Ezekiel chapter 9, would have been a Tav mark or Tav letter, the 22nd letter of the Hebrew alphabet. And the Hebrew letters are symbols for things, and the Tav is the symbol for a mark. But also, the mark of the Antichrist is described in the last book of the Bible, the 22nd book out of 22 books in the Bible that have a total of 22 chapters. Also, the mark of the Antichrist changes a person's chromosomes, and a chromosome comes with 2 arms, and they come in pairs. So 2 and 2, 22. Now, what I was saying is that, and the mark of the Antichrist is the deadly CVD thing. Okay? You know what I'm talking about. The big coincidence is that both of Brody's 2 wins for Best Actor, 22 years apart, are for his portrayal of Holocaust survivors in the movies The Pianist and The Brutalist. That's a coincidence also designed by God. The mark of the Antichrist things are responsible for an ongoing mass slaughter, and the thing will be used as a political weapon and has been used as a political weapon in the upcoming genocide, politicide of true conservatives and true conservative Christians. Okay, now we have Brody winning his second Oscar 22 years after his first one. They both involve him playing a Holocaust survivor, which hints at the mark, which is symbolized by 22 and is responsible for a Holocaust. Okay, and we also have in the same Oscars this theme with the youth and the promise of immortality that's coming with the coming mark of the Antichrist. And it's symbolized by Revelation 9:11, and the bombs on 3/22 are 9 plus 11 days after the Oscars. Okay, but we have the 22 symbolism, as I just explained. It's important because the number 22 is symbolic of the mark. It's not only involved with Brody, with the youth symbolism in that story, as I explained, because of him being the winner as the youngest ever, and the competition this year who would have been the youngest ever, but also the theme of the youth and the aging in the substance and the stripper coincidences, as I've explained. All of this is part of this mark of the Antichrist symbolism that is symbolized by the number 22, and that's why the Oscars are 79 days, which is the 22nd prime number, 22, to what I am calling Revelation 9/11 Day on June 9th, 2025. Also, this is this day that God is pointing to being a symbolic beginning to all of this, the beginning of what's coming symbolically. I believe that it could very well be that on this day it'll be a reality that aliens are here. Aliens exist. Perhaps even on that day, Pope Francis will declare that aliens have made him the ambassador for the world. But of course, aliens are demons pretending to be aliens in order to fool people, including quote-unquote Christians who aren't Christian if they believed in the possibility of aliens, because God became a man and didn't become aliens and didn't die for the sin of other alien races on other planets on other crosses. And that's the basics of Christianity, which is why someone who claims to be a quote-unquote Christian isn't. They have little understanding of their own faith, their supposed faith, and they're not Christian. That's basic. And that's why the deception that's coming. But anyway, that's why we have this 79 days connection, because it's the 22nd prime number. And the number 22 symbolizes the mark, and that's what's all that's coming. Now, June 9th, if something doesn't happen, like aliens in the news and it being real on all the mainstream news networks or something like that, it will be a step. There will be something relevant and clear in terms of a prophetic sign that will occur on that date, and it will then give us information that will lead us further down the trail of signs to the date that will be the symbolic beginning to all of this. Believe me, I know far better than you how the prediction made in this video was derived. And more importantly, I know far better than you why the righteous Christian God of the Bible has given me a voice through this prediction. If you are a quote-unquote Christian or Muslim, this prediction was not learned through a demon. Be warned that blaspheming the Holy Spirit is the unforgivable sin. If you are a New Ager or New Spirituality person, this prediction was not learned through somehow tapping into the supposed universal collective consciousness. If you are a conspiracy theorist, this prediction was not learned through figuring out a supposed code that the Illuminati and Satanists are using. This prediction was learned through the Bible and through watching carefully the Lord's prophetic signs, which Jesus commanded all Christians to do. Besides proving that Jesus Christ is the Lord, the reason why God has given me a voice through this prediction is to prove that the controversial things that I am saying in the videos on this channel are the truth. Therefore, a wise person will want to watch all of the videos on this channel. What I will also do is create a video or two that summarizes some of the controversial things that the Lord will prove to be true when the prediction being made in this video comes to pass. I will leave links to these must-watch videos in the description box below this video. Again, the purpose of this prediction, that is from God, is to prove these things that I will talk about. And therefore, it would be foolish to not watch the videos that I will leave links for in the description box below this video. Aliens and UFOs are demons masquerading as aliens and UFOs. Most people's spiritual experiences are demonic deception, especially if they are not a true follower of Christ. In the last days, many people who claim to be a follower of Christ will have spiritual experiences that are in reality demonic. God became a man and died a horrible death at the hand of the ruler of this world, Satan, and then defeated death for you, so that you too can overcome death, which is the price that must be paid for sin. It is time to repent, which means to change one's ways and turn to God and become a disciple of Jesus. Do not listen to or follow the example of most quote-unquote Christians. Instead, follow the teachings of Jesus, which most quote-unquote Christians ignore. Like Jesus, you must surrender your life. Put nothing ahead of Jesus, your Lord. Like Jesus, you must lay down your life so that you may live. As Jesus said, one must die first, like a kernel of wheat going into the ground, in order to then grow and produce fruit. And like Jesus said, one must produce fruit, or else like a branch or a tree not producing fruit, they will be thrown into the fire. Jesus was speaking to quote-unquote Christians when he said this. One must die the self in order to be born again. And like Jesus said, one must be born again to enter the kingdom. Like Jesus, you must sacrifice your life for the sake of the coming kingdom. It means to do work that involves some form of sacrifice and risk. To have faith does not mean to intellectually agree. You need to demonstrate your faith through taking action. To have faith means to trust in God's promises. Taking action demonstrates trust and fear of the Lord. The primary reason that the wrath of God is coming upon America is quote-unquote Christians that do not get what I have just explained. The only reason a Christian is alive is in order to help other people become Christians and make it to the kingdom. Do not be deceived by those on the political left claiming to be quote-unquote Christians. There is no such thing as a Christian on today's political progressive left. Jesus said, "Do not think I have come to abolish or change any bit of the law or the prophets of the Old Testament Bible." In other words, the God of the Old Testament Bible is the exact same God of the New Testament Bible. It is essential that you learn about the God of the Bible and his ways. The God of the Old Testament Bible is looking to see who will fear him, and to fear God is not the same thing as quote-unquote revering or honoring God. Through Christ's ransom payment, a Christian is someone who has been redeemed and freed from slavery to sin and Satan. In response, a true Christian recognizes that their life in this world does not belong to them, and they become a willing slave to Jesus for the sake of the kingdom. Please leave a like and upvote the video, and once this prediction has come to pass, share this video with everyone you know, and more, don't stop sharing it everywhere in social media. And don't only put the link to this video or another video on this channel in comments sections of places you typically visit, but importantly, put the link to the video in places you never visit, where people who don't think like you visit. If you are a quote-unquote Christian, nothing in terms of an evangelism tool compares to this video with its prediction. It is a massive bag of gold. Beware of Jesus' warning through the quote-unquote Christian that did nothing with his bag of gold and was banished to hell. Also, read Ezekiel chapter 3 and 33 for this same warning. If you think you might be spending too much time watching videos instead of working and sacrificing for the kingdom through handing out flyers and potentially helping hundreds of people in the same length of time as a video, my flyer is filled with amazing information that people need to know right now, and it points people to the video channel. Now is not the time to be handing out typical evangelical tracts that are largely based in error anyway, such as, quote, Jesus loves you, unquote, for example. You can hand out the flyer on busy street corners, put them on car windshields in busy parking lots, and put them in mailboxes. Just send the file to your local print shop. You can download the file from the website. Please leave a like and upvote the video, and once this prediction has come to pass, share this video with everyone you know, and more, don't stop sharing it everywhere in social media. It is essential that everyone immediately read the homepage of my website, asteroidprediction.com. If you are watching this on the YouTube platform, please note that not all of the videos are on YouTube. You need to switch to the Odyssey.com or Rumble.com channel, and do it now in case you aren't able to later.